Have you been thinking about making a move to Winter Haven, Florida? Well, there are some things you need to consider before you make that decision. Let's talk about the pros and cons of living in Winter Haven. So our first con is going to be traffic.
Always traffic. Always traffic.
Traffic has become an increasingly problematic issue for Winter Haven. We have so many people moving into Winter Haven that the traffic situation has gotten kind of crazy. It's not LA crazy, but it's crazy. When you get out and want to go someplace, it's really hard to tell when you're going to end up getting stuck in traffic. And along with that, you also have construction. Those two things together have really given us a little bit of a fit. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't get from point A to point B. It just means that you have to figure out different ways of doing things. Now, another con, I guess you could say it, and there's not a whole lot you can do about this, is the fact that there are lakes everywhere, which means you have to go around them. You can't go through them. So there's not a whole lot of straight paths for you to be able to get from point A to point B. You end up having to go around a lot of lakes, and that can cause a little bit of an issue because if you're not familiar with the area, if you're using a GPS, it can be hard to navigate. But once you get used to it, it's really not that bad. Now, the next thing that we have to look at as far as the con goes is there's not a whole lot of nightlife. There are a few bars that are open in the evening, especially Friday and Saturday nights. I'm not a bar person, but if you are, there's that. But for the most part, Winter Haven is kind of a quiet town, and it rolls up after 9, 10 o'clock at night. On the weekends, maybe after 10 or 11, but not a whole lot after that. If you really want something after 9 or 10, probably an all-night Walmart or a convenience store is going to be your best bet. As far as nightlife goes, if you want to go to a club or, something like that, you're probably going to end up in Tampa or Orlando anyways. So those are the cons that I can tell you at this point. I've lived here for 5 years. I've really enjoyed living here. I moved from Lakeland. And so for me, there aren't a whole lot of cons, but there are a whole lot of positive things about Winter Haven, and that's what we're going to get into next. So one of the other big pluses to living in Winter Haven, especially if you like being on the water, is the Winter Haven chain of lakes. This is 20 lakes that are all joined by canals, and you can pretty much take a boat and run it from one canal to the other and go through the whole chain. Now, there are restaurants and, all kinds of cool stuff on the chain, as well as great fishing, boating, skiing, all of that. So if you're really a boater, whether it's pleasure boating, whether it's taking a pontoon out and just chilling out with your friends, or whether it's fishing, water skiing, whatever the case may be, the Winter Haven chain of lakes is an excellent place for you to do all of that. And there's tons of public boat access as well. So that's a fantastic thing, especially if you're outdoorsy and enjoy being on the water. So one of the other big things is that you're fairly close to both Tampa and Orlando, which means that you're close to all the sport complexes in Tampa. So the Rays, the Lightning, the Buccaneers, and a lot of water parks and other attractions there like Busch Gardens. Then on the other side in Orlando, you're fairly close to Disney, MGM, Universal, SeaWorld, and all of those other attractions, plus a bunch of really cool restaurants and places to go. So you have, a really good, easy access on I-4 between the two. So one of the other things that you can look at that's a great pro for living in Winter Haven is you're very close to hiking and biking trails. So you've got hiking trails at Circle B Bar Reserve. You've got Carter Road Park that is fantastic for hiking and biking. They actually are a fantastic place for technical mountain bikers to go. There are a lot of competitions there. Carter Road Park, there's another name for it. They changed the name. Everybody calls it Carter Road. Even when you look it up online, if you look it up as Carter Road, it'll show up as Carter Road. It's like Lois Hart Park now, but nobody cares. It's Carter Road Park. So anyways, if you want to be like a local, call it Carter Road. But it is a very technical mountain biking trail There are some places where you can get in if you're a novice, but be very careful which trails you choose because there are some steep drop-offs and some pretty steep hills, and if you're not really well-versed, you could really hurt yourself. But again, talk to the locals when you get there, and they'll be able to help you out. There's some other hiking and biking trails in the area, so you just have to kind of look them up. But it's a fantastic place to go out and explore the outdoors. Now, one of the really weird pros of living in Winter Haven, because of all the lakes around, is that it stays a few degrees cooler than everything else around it. It's not a lot, but the difference between 98 and 96 can be stark, especially when you've been dealing with hot temperatures and humid weather. It just seems to feel a little bit cooler in Winter Haven, especially when you get around the chain of lakes. That's where you can really feel it. You start to get out towards 92, US 92, not quite the same, but when you're around the chain of lakes on the south side, man, it gets really, you can really tell the difference. So that's kind of a big plus. Now, the other thing too, and I'm sure that there are going to be some people that are going to comment and say, hey, you're wrong. And okay, I get that. Haters are going to hate. I get it. But I personally think that Winter Haven is a very safe place to live. Now, granted, every city has their bad areas. Every city has their high crime areas, and Winter Haven is no different. But for the most part, Winter Haven is a very nice, safe place to live. We've been here 5 years. I don't worry about my wife or my daughter taking a walk or riding their bike or doing anything outside. I really don't have a worry about them. The people, and this is another thing, this is another pro, the people have all been very friendly. And it doesn't matter what neighborhood I'm in. I go into a lot of different neighborhoods, including those crime areas, because of investor deals that I have to do and so on and so forth. I've never had anybody give me any issues. Everybody's been pretty mellow. Everybody's been pretty cool. Doesn't matter what color or what nationality. It doesn't matter. I've never had any issues. It's always been very friendly people that I've dealt with. And so I think those are the biggest pros that I can tell you about living in Winter Haven. I've been here five years now. And in the past 5 years, I never thought that I would like living in Winter Haven as much as I do, but I really do. I really, really do. And I hope you will enjoy living in Winter Haven as well. If you have any questions about living in Winter Haven or moving to Winter Haven, regardless of whether you're from another part of the state or out of state or even in Canada, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. All of my information is in the comments, pinned to the comments below. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.